What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 envelopes that I recently got in the mail. I believe them to be basketball returns. One came back in an oversized envelope, so I'm almost 99% sure who it is. But this first one, we will jump right into it. And this is postmarked from Washington, D.C., and it is indeed Washington, D.C. native Adrian Dantley, Hall of Famer Adrian Dantley, on 1, 2, 3, and a 4th one. And this one's kind of cool because it's him playing overseas. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. So, Adrian Dantley, a Washington, D.C. native, played collegiately at Notre Dame in the early 1970s. He averaged 30 points a game one of his seasons at Notre Dame. He was drafted multiple times. However, he decided to stay in college until finally his junior season, when he was drafted again, and he left college to join the Buffalo Braves, which now are the modern-day Los Angeles Clippers. Well, what he's most famously known for, being part of the, I don't want to say he's most famously known for, but what he did at Notre Dame, what he's famously known for, was he was part of the team that upset the UCLA Bruins and broke their 88-game winning streak. So he was on that team that broke that streak. So he was drafted in the 76 draft. However, before 1976, the season, he competed in the Summer Olympics and won a gold medal with Team USA. He played for the Buffalo Braves that season, and he won the NBA Rookie of the Year award for the Braves. For some reason, maybe it was a financial reason, Buffalo traded Dantley to the Indiana Pacers before the 77-78 season, making him the first Rookie of the Year to be traded following his rookie season. Yeah, I have to agree, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But that time was even short-lived because the Pacers traded him within 23 games to the Lakers, as that card indicates. Well, he stayed with the Lakers through the end of that season. However, after that season, he was traded to the Utah Jazz. That's where he really came into his own, so to speak, and he has gone down as probably one of the greatest Utah Jazz players ever to play. He played small forward, and he established his reputation as being a prolific scorer, twice leading the league in scoring in 1981 and 1984. So he spent 7 seasons with the Jazz, and it's amazing. There was a 4-year span that he averaged over 30 points a game for the season. Not for a season, 4 years straight, he averaged over 30 a game, which is awesome. He spent all the way through 1985-86 with the Jazz, and after the 85-86 season, the Jazz decided to trade him to the Detroit Pistons. Well, the Detroit Pistons were right on the cusp of winning those championships when they picked him up. Well, in 1989, the Pistons decided to part ways to add that final piece to their championship run in acquiring Mark Aguirre by trading him to the Dallas Mavericks. Well, he would play with the Dallas Mavericks up until 1990, until they let him go, and he finished the 1991 season with the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, after the 91 season, he signed to play overseas for a year, I believe, and then after that, he decided to retire. Well, after that, he got into coaching for a couple years. He coached at the collegiate level. He also coached at the high school level. However, most recently, he coached with the Denver Nuggets during the 2010 season, 2009-2010 season. After that, he retired, moved back to the Washington, D.C. area, and according to his Wikipedia page, he helps referee high school games and rec league games. He also works part-time as a crossing guard for a school district. And his son actually played for the Syracuse Orangemen playing football. not basketball. So thank you, Mr. Dantley. This is one of the best underrated Hall of Famers from the early 80s, late 70s. I mean, again, the guy averaged 30 points a game for 4 consecutive seasons. That's just amazing. You imagine somebody doing that now? That you're talking James Harden, Russell Westbrook, guys of that ilk. And you don't even know the name Adrian Dantley hardly. So thank you very much, Mr. Dantley. I really appreciate adding those to my collection. All right, so this next one is postmarked from New York, I believe. Yes, New York, New York. And it is, indeed, Hall of Famer and Olympian Bill Bradley on 1, 2, and 1 Hall of Fame card makes 3. So Bill Bradley, he is originally from Missouri, went to a small high school southwest of St. Louis, and because of his basketball abilities, he had over 45 scholarship chances throughout the country. He chose to go to Princeton University. Well, at Princeton, not only did he excel academically, he excelled on the basketball court as well. Bill Bradley was one of the first pure shooters from that era. He could light you up before the three-point line existed. He was, a small forward shooting guard type, and he could definitely drain some points on a hurry on you. So he played for Team USA in 1964 while he was in college. So after his graduation from Princeton, he was actually offered a Rhodes Scholarship to attend Worcester College in Oxford. Well, because he was unsure about his basketball playing, he actually chose to play 1 year in Europe while he was pursuing his scholarship in Oxford. Well, after that year was completed, he also spent a brief stint in the United States Air Force, and the New York Knicks chose to make him an offer he couldn't refuse. When he was selected by the Knicks in the NBA draft, he chose to come back to the United States to play for the Knicks. Well, from 1967 to 1977, he was an integral part of the New York Knicks championship teams, playing small forward, shooting guard, with the likes of Dave DeBusschere, Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, Earl the Pearl, etc., the Knicks teams from that era. After he finished his career in the NBA, this is where it really gets interesting. As you can see, he was elected to the Hall of Fame, but we'll talk about that in a second too. But in 1977, he decided to run for office, and he became a United States Senator. Well, he was a United States Senator all the way up until the late 1990s when he made a bid to run for president. Unfortunately, he was not supported and did not win the Democratic backing in the election. And after that, he stepped away from politics and went back to the private sector, and it says that he works for Starbucks and Allen and Company, which is an investment bank in New York City. So I sent my cards, care of a company in New York City, and hoped to get them signed, and I got them back returned. So in closing, with Bill Bradley, he's a college Hall of Famer, Olympic gold medalist, NBA Hall of Famer, NBA champion, Princeton graduate, former U.S. Senator. So thank you very much, Mr. Bradley. Really appreciate getting your autograph, especially from one Missourian to another. All right, so this final one is in a large envelope, and it is postmarked from Virginia, and it is indeed former Houston Rocket Hall of Famer Ralph Sampson on 1. 2 is a Sacramento King, and in addition to that 2 is a bonus autograph that appears to be pre-signed. There is a copy of the Sports Illustrated that he appeared on way back in the day. Trying to show it without all that glare. Sorry about that. So that was a freebie, and these two were signed. As you can see, his autograph isn't that legible, to say it nicely. He's a rather quick pen guy, it looks like, from the looks of things. You know, kind of a swoosh, two-letter guy. But Ralph Sampson was one of the most dominant big men to ever come out of college. He was a 3-time College Player of the Year before he turned pro. As you can see, he was the #1 draft pick of the Houston Rockets in 1983. So standing at 7'4", he played his college basketball at Virginia University, which, as you know, they've been pretty popular lately in college basketball. From 1979 to 83, he was drafted in the 83 draft, #1 overall, as I mentioned. As you can see, this is him probably in his rookie year, I'm guessing, just by taking a guess at the year on that. And as a rookie with the Rockets, he was dominant. You know, averaged 20 points a game and 10 rebounds a game for the Rockets. Well, he was very, very good with the Houston Rockets. His stats were very solid his first few years in the league. And with the Rockets, he averaged almost 20 points a game for his career with the Rockets. Well, unfortunately, the toll of being a big man, you know, a 7'4" person, really took a toll on his body, and a lot of injuries start to set in about his 4th year in the league, actually. The first 2 years, he didn't miss a beat. He was in 82 of 82 games. His 3rd year, he only missed 3 games, and his 4th year was a disaster. Well, with his injury, the Rockets suffered, and that was them able to draft Hakeem Olajuwon with their draft pick that same year. So, for a brief period of time, Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson were the Twin Towers in Houston. Well, after the 87-88 season, or actually midway through the 87-88 season, I guess you would say, it was decided that Ralph was no longer needed with the Rockets because Olajuwon was there, basically. And they traded him to the Golden State Warriors. Well, he spent a couple seasons with the Warriors, which, you know, were pretty good overall, until they traded him to the Sacramento Kings. Well, it was at that point that the wheels just started coming off for Sampson, and injuries, just after injury, started hampering him with the Kings, and he only appeared in, you know, a handful of games with the Kings. Ultimately, the Kings let him go, and he played his final season with the Washington Bullets in 1991-92. So, you know, he is a basketball Hall of Famer. However, his career was probably the best I could compare it to modern era, was kind of like Yao Ming. He was dominant for a small stretch of time, and just the injury after injury after injury just really hampered the guy. But when he was on for those few years, he was one of the best in the game. So in closing, I want to thank Mr. Sampson, Mr. Bradley, and Mr. Dantley, all Hall of Famers in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Thank you for signing. If you guys have any cards of these guys laying around, I highly suggest tracking down their address and sending them through the mail. How can you go wrong with getting some Hall of Famers? I look forward to your comments below. Thanks.